and I get it. There are a lot of choices to be made with food out there. But the more we tell ourselves that we can't have something, the more we tell ourselves something is bad, the more we're probably going to want it. And then that leads us, when we do get that food in front of us, to either overeat that food because we've got this inner dialogue that maybe I can never have this again, so I better eat all of it now, or to eat that food and then feel bad or guilty about it afterwards, which then lowers our mood and lowers our self-esteem.
How much of how we view food now is tied to our upbringing?
I think that varies from person to person, but overall, probably more than we realize, more than we recognize. I think a lot of us can relate, especially in middle age, can relate to growing up in the Weight Watchers days and the, Oprah and all the different diets and things. And, we've realized over time that dieting, quote unquote dieting, oftentimes is ineffective. The diet industry is a multi-billion-dollar powerful machine, but a lot of those sort of diets preach things that aren't really effective or haven't been effectively researched. And now, quote unquote, dieting gets cloaked in what we call clean eating. But if it's leading us to be kind of all or nothing or overly rigid about food or scared of certain foods or certain food groups, we probably want to, examine that. A lot of us also received messages growing up about the way girls and women should look. That is becoming increasingly common now for boys and men as well. But, if we had parents that were sort of on and off dieting or yo-yo dieting or, rewarding kind of dieting behavior or weight loss or making a lot of commentary on our body and our appearance, that probably affected us in ways that are pretty significant today.
So if that is something that we grew up with, how do we change that for the next generation?
That's a really good question. I get that a lot. Basically, we want to role model the behavior that we want to see in our kids, and we want to role model the relationship with our body that we want our children to have. So in the same way, if you were, say, not in a healthy marriage, you wouldn't expect to pass along the ability to have a healthy relationship to your children. People recognize if my relationship is fractious with my partner, then I'm probably teaching my children to also have a fractious relationship. Likewise with food in your body. So what we want to do is come to a place of body acceptance and body freedom and role model a healthy relationship with food in your body to your children.
What's something tangible that I can change as a parent to make that difference in my kid's life?
Absolutely. That's a really good question. We want to, first of all, I'm going to tell you a bunch of things not to do, and then we can talk about what to do.
My pen is ready. Where's my pen?
Oh, yes, exactly. We don't want to engage in body talk at all. No body shaming, no commentary about anybody else's body. If you're having family or friends over, you don't want your children overhearing, that I've gained weight or that I've lost weight or this is too big or that's not big enough or, I need to do this or that in order to be acceptable. We don't want to put ourselves down in front of our children. If we are doing that, they are going to learn to also do that. We want to have a culture of body acceptance where we accept that bodies change, bodies are dynamic, bodies grow, bodies get stronger, and that is all okay. As human beings, change is hard and it can be scary unless we're teaching children to expect this, and that is part of being normal and healthy.
What about saying, you look great in that, or I love that you chose to wear that? Are we still giving a negative message on the other side of that of like, well, they didn't say they liked what I wore yesterday?
It can be, overall, this is really interesting, actually. I'll try not to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but there is now more data coming out about social media and its impact on young people. And there was a study done where high schoolers had their Instagram usage tracked and whatnot. And basically the outcome was this. For young women who were posting body-based pictures, selfies and, mirror shots and that kind of thing, the more likes they got and the more positive comments on their body, the worse their self-esteem was.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's because it drives home this idea that you need to look a certain way in order to be acceptable, or that it's your appearance that is valuable.
So as a parent, how do you do different if, you really just want to encourage your kid that they know how much you love them and that they look great, but if I can't use that language, what do I do?
You want to say things like, you want to direct it back to them.
Okay.
Your child's got a new outfit on for back to school. They are proud as a peacock, and you want to say, how do you feel in that? Or you look really confident. You look really happy. How does that color make you feel? So you kind of want to put it back on how they feel in their outfits or in their bodies or whatever it is. And you also want to focus a lot on what your body can do. So abilities, skills, not appearance. Because even those children who get a lot of positive feedback on their appearance, it traps them in a way that they have to look like that in order to be acceptable. It actually creates a lot of insecurities.
That's interesting because I find a lot of the songs that my toddlers listen to is like, I love my ears because they hear. I love my eyes because they see. I love my mouth because I can smile, I can speak, I can sing. And I noticed that there was sort of this shift between when I was a kid and it was, I love my hair because it's long, or I love this because, and it was all appearance. It is more about function. Is this something that's sort of starting at a younger age already?
I think so. I think there's been a wider acceptance, again, from those of us who unfortunately had to learn the hard way, that like, even if I get positive comments, it's still maybe not the kind of attention that I want, And I think we all want to be appreciated for who we are, for our skills, our strengths, what we bring to the table. That's where legitimate confidence is going to come from, so that if my body grows and changes or my appearance changes, that's okay. I say it in the counseling room a lot and also just out there generally. I really hope that my appearance is the least interesting thing about me. And I hope the same for you,
I like that.
Yeah. It's the least interesting thing about you. It can change. That's no problem. You still are who you are at your core. And the people who are in your life that love you are going to want you around because you're funny and you're compassionate and you're kind. And these are the things that make other people gravitate to us.
I think that's a perfect place to leave it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.